welcome to In My Opinion for Eternights.
The day starts normally with your best pal Chani helping you set up a dating profile. You end up meeting someone to set up a date, which leads to a strange dream. While that's happening, Eternight's big miracle anti-aging drug leaks out and eventually turns everyone into monsters, and a mysterious wall surrounds the city. So you and Chani wake up to this new hell and while running for your life run into the pop star Yuna. Eventually you three get caught by a mysterious lady who cuts off your arm. This is when you find out that the date you made was with someone known as the Architect named Lux, who is in a battle with another person like her known as Umbra. These two are gunning for a stone which makes one of them sleep while the other stays awake. Lux says if she's put to sleep then Umbra will pretty much wipe everything off the world. So it's up to you with your glowy new arm and your growing group of friends to get said stone and save the world. I actually really enjoyed the game's story. It's pretty straightforward to collect item and stop baddie, but it's the characters that make it a great time. I already mentioned Yuna, but there's also Min, a timid school track runner, Sia, a scientist filled with passion for, well, science, and Johan, someone else you meet in a dream and who's connected to all of this. Even while the game isn't super long, it does a wonderful job at giving these characters personalities and making them really likable. They even make Chani, who at first comes off like a dick, into a more likable character. You even get some backstory to some as well, like Yuna having feelings of regret of how she reacted to a certain scandal that happened to a friend. There's also little moments in the train base that give you some fun interactions with the characters, like that time Min got stuck under the bed. There were even times when the game tugged at my heartstrings. And I think my only big complaint is I wish the ending showed a little bit more than it does. This is a hack and slash with a heavy focus on socializing mechanics with both tying together. The combat itself feels simple, but acceptable. You won't be doing these insane combos and launching enemies into the air and so on, but I still found it pretty fun. The game does start slow, not sending too many enemies against you, but it quickly ups that and these enemies attack differently, so it does keep your attention. One of the biggest tools that help you is your dodge move, as if you dodge just at the right time it slows down time, allowing you to catch your breath, but more importantly, score a ton of free hits. There are some enemies with shields and you need to tear them down to get at their health. To do this, you need to fill your elemental gauge by just attacking, and once it's full you pick a certain element attack depending on the enemy's element to break it, be it neutral, fire, ice, or electric. Doing this triggers a neat little quick time event that's not too hard to pass, which will then open the enemy up for regular attacks. You can use this attack as well on non-shielded enemies for big extra damage. You'll also unlock skills as you go along, so there's one that lets you whip out a giant sword that's slow but strong, another which if you hit the enemy enough times in a row you build up a death blow meter, and when full will either kill the enemy in one hit or just do big damage. There's even a parry skill that you can unlock that not only interrupts enemies' attacks but also helps fill that death blow meter faster. Some of these skills do use up your skill meter, so you have to be aware of that, and there are ways to fill it up like performing that dodge move I mentioned before. To unlock and upgrade your many skills, you need black and white essence, with the black being gained by finding them in the map or killing certain enemies, and the white can be earned during the game's social interactions. Speaking of social stuff, let's get into that. You have 3 girls, Yuna, Min, Sia, and 2 guys, Chani and Johan, to socialize with, and you can romance all but Chani, though you can still chill with him since he's your best bud. The girls show up pretty fast, with Johan officially being around to interact with much later. The social aspect works like this. You and the team get a dungeon mission and have to complete it in a certain amount of days. During these days you can talk to the characters, which will trigger scenes with you getting to know them better, and after each scene you will rank up, with the 6th rank being confession time. Though if you don't want to romance certain characters but still go beyond 6th rank, you can, and if you want to romance them all you could do that as well. But just to let you know, you won't get the extra secret ending scene if you don't stick to max romancing just one character. Me personally, for my first playthrough, I stuck with Min. Though what I found kind of annoying is to see the extra ending you need to use your cell phone to scan a barcode. I feel this extra scene should have just been in the game itself. Most of the social stuff is just you and the character talking, though there are moments when you will go out together and fight through enemies to get to a certain spot and then interact some more. When you're talking, the game usually gives you 2 to 3 dialogue choices. And one of the things I like about this game is that there's really no wrong answer since every choice raises one of your 4 social stats, which is expression, acceptance, confidence, and courage, each stat tying to a specific character. I also like that some of the dialogue options are kind of funny and sometimes blunt, like saying you farted or that you like porn. After all, the lead is kind of pervy. Be aware that after you get them to the romance option at rank 6, you do need to max out your social stat tied to that character to make them reach the max rank of 7, which also unlocks their ultimate skill, such as Min taking a fatal blow for you. After reaching the 7th rank, you can then ask them out on 2 dates, which usually has you going straight to their room or somewhere else on their train, which leads to a special moment. If you're just a tiny bit away from maxing out the stat, never fear. Chani is here to save the day, as he can increase any social stats you choose by a lot. And you can do this during the day, night, or even both if you want to. Also, there are some dialogue choices that give you affinity with the characters, but that never seemed as important as the social stats. Besides learning more about the characters and getting those special moments, ranking up your bond with them is also important to combat, since as your bond goes up, you'll get more skills for yourself like spawning a sword shield, a big thrust attack, a whirlwind attack, and a sword blast, which I feel is the most powerful one. Your companions get some special skills as well, known as confidant skills, which has its own meter. You got Yuna's healing, Sia's ice attack, and Min's shield that can go up to 3 shields. Though it doesn't end there, as they also have passive skills that can do things like restore your normal and companion skill bars, increase your base stats, and even increase how much bar you have. And I will say Johan has some of the best stat increases, which makes up for him not having a specific skill like the girls. Your boy Chani also gets you some stat upgrades as well. Also, ranking them up gives them more elemental shots when you're taking out those barrier enemies, making them much easier. The social stuff can only be done during the daytime, and same with the dungeon you have to take down, so you gotta decide how you want to handle that. Though that doesn't mean nighttime has no use. During the night you can scavenge for items the characters need, be it weights, pads, yes, those type of pads, a picture frame, and so on. You have 3 spots to choose from and are timed. Though since you can save before heading out, you can just guess the spot to see if the item is there, and if it's not, just reload your game. And the items are always in the same spot. I do like that the characters give a reason for needing said items, since it shows off more personality and tells you more about them. Your reward for doing this is permanent stat upgrades. So for example, every time you do an item hunt for Min, it increases your defense, and you'll also get some white essence for unlocking skills. The second thing you can do is play a minigame with one of the characters, with each being different. So Yuna has a breathing exercise, Sia has a pick the right molecule, Johan has a touch the heart, and finally Min has you doing some squats. These just give you some white essence, though I personally rarely did them, and if you want to do them I would suggest Min's as she has the easiest one. I do like the fact that you can do the dungeons on whatever day, and if you do it early the game will come up with a reason you can't move forward, leaving the other days up for socializing. Since I mentioned it, let's talk a little more about the dungeons. There's not too many of them, with there only being like 3. It's basically you go through killing enemies while your friends talk here and there, with it ending with a boss fight. You don't need to worry about who to take, as the game lets you take all 3 of the girls, but Johan is never part of the combat. While the path is pretty straightforward, I do like that they throw some stuff to make each one stand out a little bit, and keep it from being dull and samey. So in the first one, you have a puzzle in which you must walk on invisible floors with the color pattern being your hint. Another one has you picking the right light up cat eyes for another puzzle. And there's also a part where you're riding on a motorcycle dodging hazards. And there's even smaller gameplay sections which I don't count as full dungeons that mix it up as well. Like you having to give Min a piggyback ride while hiding from giant monsters. Most of the dungeons don't feel too long, and you have multiple save points which you can teleport back and forth from, which is helpful. And if you die, you just start from the last save, be it manual or autosave. You can also go back to your train base if you want to if you feel too weak, but to be honest I never felt the need to do that and was able to complete the dungeon on the same day I started. After beating the game you do get a new game plus option. This carries over your essence, all your stats including social, and all skills you unlock for yourself and your companions. The only thing you have to do over again is level up your companion's rank, which isn't too hard. You also can recollect the scavenged items, which is an actual plus since you can increase your stats even more. I actually beat the game on New Game Plus, in which I stomped the enemies, and it made it easier to romance everyone. I think the game looks pretty good. The environments won't wow you, but each dungeon has a distinct look, like a hospital or office building. There's also the environmental color scheme that helps make your surroundings stand out. The enemies do repeat, but they do a good job at looking freakish, including the bosses. And you tend to get one new enemy each dungeon, so that's something to look forward to. Our main cast designs are visually nice to look at, and they stand out from one another. I also enjoy the facial animations in the game as they're very much anime. So if you watch any anime or even read some manga, a lot of these expressions will be familiar. While the majority of cutscenes and interactions are using the in-game engine, which ain't bad, there are certain times, mostly intimate times, that they use a specific style that looks great and makes the game pop even more. There's even a very small amount of anime cutscenes which are appreciated and look very good. The game also has some musical tracks that are really good and used at the right time, especially its main vocal track. I played the game with an English dub and the cast does a fantastic job in bringing these likable characters to life. There's also a Japanese and Korean voice option if you prefer that. If I had to say anything negative here, it would be that the characters' mouths gave me that feeling that something is a little off, but I got over that quickly. I can't say there were any moments of bugs or frame rate dips, as my time with the game was a smooth one.
Whoa, wait. Are there people that aren't real? Am I real?
What about me? Everybody, we're all real.
Are we, though?
Sia? Welcome to our train, Johan. What did you mean when you implied he wasn't real?
While the game has acceptable combat, the social elements and the likable characters within the story make the journey worth going through. There's also the little gameplay elements like the puzzles that help spice things up. The 10 hours it took me to beat the game just flew right on by. I was just so sucked into the game that I was surprised when I was already at the end. For replay value, there's New Game Plus, which pretty much carries over everything, and there's multiple difficulty options off the bat. It really shocked me with how small the development team was for this game, with mainly everything being done by one person when it all first started. The game has been compared to Persona, and I can clearly see why. And I have to say, if you like the social element of those games and enjoy some decent hack and slash action, then Eternights is a strong recommendation. While Persona may be more of a full course meal, this game is more like a really tasty slice of cake. And I mean, everybody likes cake. I hope you enjoy my thoughts on this game, and for gamer's sake, keep gaming.